Hi and welcome to Mojo Dogs. My name is Jo, and this little video today is just to ask you some very open questions about your thinking about getting a puppy, and is getting a puppy right for you. So just a little bit about me. I run Mojo Dogs. Mojo Dogs has been around since 2016. I've been training dogs for over 20 years now, and we offer both group and one-to-one training. So you're thinking about getting a puppy. There's some very honest questions that you need to have a think about and answer before you just head off and get yourself a puppy. Hopefully this video is just going to help you consider a lot of areas that you may not have considered before, because getting a puppy is not something that you want to go into lightly. Puppies are a lot of hard work, and just because your friend's got one and it's super cute, or you've seen a cool dog on the TV, it doesn't mean that getting one is the right decision for you. So firstly, you've got to think about the cost. Okay, so there's the initial purchase price of a puppy, which can be absolutely anything these days. But you could consider spending anywhere around £1,000 and up for a puppy these days. But it's the ongoing costs that you need to consider for your puppy. Initially, you could expect not only the purchase price, but maybe about £500 on top of that to purchase toys, crates, initial vaccinations, and that's just as a minimum. You then need to think about the monthly and ongoing costs of food, insurance, going to training classes, which obviously I hugely advocate for. It's really important. What about grooming, vet fees, and all of these things that are just monthly and ongoing? You need to think about, and can you afford that before you even go any further in thinking about getting this puppy? Now you need to think about not only the cost, but the extra time. You're going to need to get up earlier on in the day. How are you going to do that if you've got to get up and ready for work? How much sooner do you need to get up? How is it going to impact your day? How will your puppy be cared for while you're at work? And do you have that additional time to walk and train your puppy? It does take more than 5 minutes a day. But what you might have is you might have a support network of family and friends that can help you. They might be able to help you with care and advice. What do they think about you getting a puppy? Have you spoken to them? Have they got any advice or thoughts on whether getting a puppy is right for you at the moment? Do they have any experience or suggestions that you could learn from? Give your friends and family an ask while you're going through this decision. Have you thought about any potential difficulties, such as chewing, toilet training, those sleepless nights? They're going to be coming. You do need to have a lot of patience when you're training your puppy, and you need to understand that bringing a puppy into your home may not be the easiest thing for you. So don't make this decision lightly. It must be the right one for you, and don't do it on a whim. You need to be 100% sure that getting a puppy is right for you. If you're sure on this, answering this question, then keep on watching. Okay, so you've decided that, you're pretty sure a puppy is right for you. So first thing you need to start thinking about is choosing a breed and a breeder, whether you're going to rescue your puppy. So you've got some options. How do you go about choosing your puppy? It needs more thought than just, oh look, there's a puppy, I think I'll have that puppy. You need to think about what you're going to be doing with your puppy as an adult, and start to look and pick a breed that has traits that are going to fit in with you and your lifestyle. You need to think of a reason why you're getting this puppy. Is it for long countryside walks, companionship, maybe even a sport dog? You need to find a breed or breed traits that are going to complement your vision of why you want to get a puppy. For example, you might not want to think about getting a high-energy dog if you like to relax at home reading a book. And you might not want to consider a short-nosed breed if you like long summer hikes. You need to research breeds and their traits to try and find a puppy that's likely to suit your lifestyle and the vision for getting your puppy. When you have an idea of breeds and breed traits, then you can start to research where to find your puppy. Now, whether this is you contacting breeders, breed associations, or breed rescues, or any other rescue, it might be possible that you end up on a waiting list, but having the idea of these breed traits in your mind is going to help you choose your perfect puppy. And remember, getting a puppy is not an impulse buy. You're finding a companion who's going to be with you for the next 10 to 15 years, so they're going to be worth the wait if you do need to go on a waiting list. When you contact somebody about a puppy, make sure that you're asking the right questions to that breeder or rescue centre, and make sure that you're also being asked the right questions. If you get any funny feelings about an interaction with someone, then trust your gut. If something doesn't feel quite right, then you do need to walk away. You don't want to end up buying from a puppy farmer or being sold a stolen dog. And speaking of puppy farmers, would you be able to spot one? They're getting really, really clever at what they're doing now. It's big business. So they've started to even hire rental properties, so they quickly come and go. The house looks pristine. But are there any knickknacks around the place? Is it messy? Does it show it's lived in? They will do one of these rental properties. They've been and gone, sometimes in a day, and you've got no way of ever finding them again. The puppy's poorly and your money's gone, and that's it. So here's some questions just to keep in mind to avoid some puppy farmers. Don't meet anyone at a public location. They might try and fool you with some sort of emergency that somebody's had to go into hospital. It's a standard puppy farmer tactic, and they'll just meet you at a car park somewhere. No, walk away. If you cannot see the home that they were bred in with the mother, then you need to walk away. If that house is too clean and tidy, it could be a rental property. It's probably somewhere they just do business from for a day or two and then they leave. If it's pristinely clean and there's no family photos, dog toys or lived-in look, no paraphernalia, I'd ask questions. Maybe they're a little bit far out and there's lots of outbuildings. Consider that as well. Do the puppies that you're seeing actually resemble the ones that you've seen in the advert? Do they look the same, or are they slightly different colour, slightly different traits? That's another question you need to ask yourself. Are you seeing the same puppies that the advert was taken from? How is the mum around the puppies? Does she seem attentive to them or non-interested? Is it that she is really their mum? Never ever take a puppy without seeing them with their mum. Make sure that the puppies seem healthy. Can you see the whole litter, or is it just the one that you inquired about? Maybe the breeder's offering different breeds. Maybe one puppy doesn't suit you, but they offer you a different kind. Does the breeder ask you about the puppy and what the puppy's going to be doing in their lifetime? Do they ask you lots of relevant questions, or are they only interested in payment and deposits more than asking you questions about the puppy's future and how happy they're going to be? If any flags are raised, I know it's going to be really, really hard, but you need to walk away. You cannot keep funding these criminals. You're going for it. You've chosen a puppy from a breeder or a rescue, and that's it, they're coming home. So what do you need to do to prepare your home? You need to start thinking about some equipment and future rules and guidance for your puppy. You can start to think about spending approximately about £500 on some of the extra equipment that your puppy's going to need. To start with, you're going to need a lead, a harness, a collar and an ID tag, and maybe you're going to need something to help secure them in the car for when you bring them home. You're going to need poo bags, bowls, crate, pen, toys, chews and grooming tools. There's lots of things that you need to start purchasing for your puppy. You might need to get food, puppy pads, the list could essentially be endless, but you're going to need to start with some of those basics. Maybe you've got some friends and family that have had puppies, so you might just be able to get some equipment and things from them, maybe second-hand places online, but do try and get something that's safe and suitable for your puppy. No matter what, you are now a pup parent, and once you've got all this equipment in place, you now need to think about everybody else that's involved in that puppy's life. Whether it's just you getting your puppy or you're part of a larger family, you're now a puppy parent. And what are the things you now need to think about? One of the basics, although it can cause some confliction, is what are you going to call your puppy? Do you already have a name in mind? Or will there be some conflict with the family, and how are you going to cope with that conflict? You're just going to put some names in a bowl and pick one out? Then you've got to start thinking about some family rules. What are you going to be doing with your family? Have you already spoken to your family about where the puppy is going to sleep? Are there going to be arguments about where the puppy sleeps at night, or are you going to have a nice set area for them? Coming up with these rules before your puppy even comes home stops any conflict around the puppy. Do we know where they're going to spend most of their time? Will your puppy be allowed on sofas and beds? And who's going to share those chores if they're being shared? With these rules, you need to make it quite clear not only to your family members but any visitors as well, because you're bringing up the most perfect puppy. You want them to be able to stick to rules around everybody. If you have any visions about how your puppy is going to eventually behave in certain situations, does everybody agree with that, and can everybody stick to these rules and guidelines? Because you don't want any conflict or confusion when it comes to training your puppy. Setting out these rules now is just going to help everybody avoid that conflict when the puppy comes home. You can also start to think about what vet you're going to use, and other areas that you can think about are what are you going to feed your puppy? Has the breeder got any suggestions? Do you have any preferences or even a budget that you need to stick to? Remember, your relationship, your ideas, your goals with your puppy and your family, they might be set at day one, but this is a new journey for you, so things might change. You might give in to those puppy eyes, and soon, within a couple of days, they're on that sofa snuggling up with you. It doesn't matter if you change this vision and these ideals, but just try not to change them too often, otherwise it will become confusing and conflicting for your puppy if you chop and change your mind too much. We don't want any frustration creeping in. So you've got all this equipment, your puppy's coming home, but now what are you going to do with your home layout? What you've got to think about is you've got all this equipment, where are you going to put it? Just think logically about where you spend your time and how you move around your home. You want your puppy to have easy access to the areas they're allowed to get to, but you also don't want to be tripping up them all over the place. Think about your home management beforehand and think about if there are any rules in place and that you need to help accommodate your puppy and your family moving around your home on a day-to-day basis. For example, will your puppy be fed in the kitchen, the utility room, or in their crate? Will they spend their time mostly in one room, one area, or in their playpen? Do you need to have any gates between rooms or access to the stairs to keep your puppy safe? Crate training may seem hard to begin with, but it becomes really useful in training, and it's not something you should give up on easily. Your puppy does need to learn to be happy and content when you're not around. Just think about it like baby proofing. Are all those wires out of the way? Any dangerous items? Just think of that baby proofing, but for one with far sharper teeth. When you've thought about indoors, think about outdoors. Where will your puppy go to the toilet? Don't just open the door and hope for the best. Give your puppy a set location to go out to the toilet. Go out with them on the lead. Make sure your garden is safe and secure. Have you checked if you've got any poisonous plants in your garden? Maybe you don't even have a garden. What are you going to do then? Do you have any lighting available for midnight trips? These are things you want to talk about and think about before your puppy comes home. So you've got your home all laid out. Now what are you going to do on a daily basis? Think about your daily routine, because routines really help puppies understand. It's so helpful for them, but it doesn't mean that everything has to be done at a set time. It's just that same routine. It just can help things stay in order for you and your puppy. Firstly, you need to think about what do you need to do each day and work from there. Do you have to go to work at a certain time? Do shopping, school run? What do you need to work around that you cannot change for your puppy? Routine is key for these early days with your puppy. You could think about taking your puppy out to the toilet every hour to start with toilet training. What about nap time? Puppies actually need a huge amount of sleep. Maybe about 18 hours a day of sleep. You do not need to entertain them for hours and hours on end. In fact, I highly recommend you don't. The more you do with your puppy, the more they're going to end up overstimulated, overtired, and basically over the top. You need to think about playtime. It does need to be appropriate, but don't do more than your puppy can cope with. You want to promote good behaviours and definitely don't allow them to mouth or chew you. When you start to think about exercise, you need to keep it appropriate depending on lots of factors: age, breed, weather, whether they have a busy walk one day, keep the next day calmer. The more exercise you give your puppy, the more they'll need. I'm a big disbeliever in 5 minutes per month, as lots of dog trainers. There's no way you can get your puppy to socialise and see so many things if you go by the 5 minute per month rule. I'm not quite sure where that came from, but we disregard it. Just be sensible with your puppy. Don't go on any major hikes or runs with them until they're fully grown. Now let's think about some enrichment for your puppy. So enrichment is sniffing, licking, chewing, doing these lovely, simple and calming activities. They should be encouraged as much as possible. You don't need to buy all these expensive brain games that you see out on the market. You can invent lots of things at home. And if you're not spending some time each day doing some enrichment, then you're missing out on so much for your puppy. So what's an example of a routine? I like to try and help my clients by thinking about what are those certain things that you really need to work around, such as feeding time. They're really important. And then the toilet breaks are going to be the most frequent thing above the feeding. Say, for example, you're really lucky and your puppy slept through the whole night and you get them up at 6 a.m. You might get them up at 6 a.m. and pop them in the garden to relieve themselves, and you might leave themselves to play with their toys and run off some of that energy and excitement from waking up and seeing you. You might decide to give them their first feed at 7 a.m. Once they've finished eating, they're going to need to go back out to the toilet, and they might come in back indoors and you might do some training and some playing, and you might keep them busy until, say, 9 a.m. when you've got to get to work. You might pop them down for a nap. They might want to get up a couple of hours later at 11 a.m. just to go to the toilet. That's okay, pop them back down for another nap, because their next feed maybe won't be until 12 p.m. At 12 o'clock at lunchtime, you're going to give them a nice little break, have some food, and you might give them a little bit of playtime and enrichment. But it's time for you to get back to work, so you pop them back down for a nap at 1 o'clock. You might decide to wake them up again at 3 o'clock just to check whether they need the toilet and give them another feed. You might put them back down for another nap because you've got to finish some work off and decide that, do you know what, I'm not going to get you back up until 6 p.m, where I'm then going to give you a final feed of the day, last toilet break, and then we're going to play right round and do some bits and bobs and entertain you until about 9 o'clock when it's bedtime. I always find that around 8 p.m, 7, 8 p.m, the witching hour kicks in. You're going to wait to find out about that one. We'll be here to help when you need us. Okay, so you need to start thinking about how you're going to socialise your puppy to other humans and animals in and out of the home. Think about who's going to come in contact with your puppy. Other family members and friends? What about children? Never, ever, ever leave a puppy and children, or even a dog and children, unattended. It's just not worth the risk. Anybody that comes into contact with your puppy should aid and help with training. Just because somebody likes your puppy jumping all over their lap doesn't mean great grandma will like it. What about jumping up? Some people do like it, but it can hurt other people. And if you're not careful, complaints can be made about your dog being out of control if they're constantly jumping up at somebody. Don't let your poor management of a situation and your puppy be thought of as an out of control nuisance. If your friends and family aren't going to help you with training and to your rules, then don't let them around your puppy. Because if they allow your puppy to jump all over them when you don't want them to, your puppy's just going to start to think it's okay to jump up at anyone that isn't you. Ask everybody to help you stick to your rules. You're trying to bring up your puppy the best way you can to your ideas and standards. And sticking to your rules and dreams is vital, as you were just brought up the same by your parents. Stick to those rules. It's really going to help you. By keeping things clear and easy to understand for you and your puppy and everyone they meet, it's going to make your journey so much more easy. But what about meeting other animals? Maybe you've already got another animal at home. Remember, they were there first. Whether you've got a cat, a rabbit, a hamster or a stick insect, it doesn't matter. You're bringing in a new animal into their environment. You can always start by introducing a scent first rather than a straight head-on meeting. Maybe keep your puppy separate from that other animal, rub a cloth over their body and introduce them to the other animal in time with scented articles. Never let your puppy bother other animals either. That's just not fair. If you do have another animal, just keep them separate. If needed, don't let your puppy chase them around. It's not funny at all. Just let your puppy and other animals meet in a calm way. Keep your puppy on lead if need be. In fact, I really do recommend it to start with. And always, no matter what, keep your dog on lead around livestock, no matter how well behaved you are. So now you've watched my little video. In conclusion, you've hopefully decided whether a puppy's right for you at this time. You've learned about what to look for the right breed traits to fit in with your lifestyle, how to spot a puppy farmer and how to avoid them, and preparing to bring your puppy home, the equipment, the layout, the routine, the rules. Don't worry, we're here to help, so do keep an eye out for my actual next video series, the first 4 weeks with your puppy. I look forward to seeing you there.